In 1974, some of Italy's most accomplished musicians came together in the superband Il Volo, and from their self-titled first of two albums, the track
La canzone del nostro tempo,
which translates to the song of our time. Kind of like a Jaws harp sounding bass line, or like I guess it's just some strange bass effect. It almost reminds me of a sound that The Who used a few times during the 70s, like on Join Together, or like on a couple of, on like some of those John Entwistle, or like that one robotic John Entwistle song on Who Are You? Now we've gone into this like windy flurry. Yeah, kind of jazzy. Yeah, kind of these really loose notes and this like flurry of simple spray. Yeah, this has like a real earworm type chorus to it. I hear that electric piano. Yeah, yeah, definitely like a real angular chorus. Oh, those like you can tell these guys are like really like virtuosos, and yet they're so refined at the same time. Just putting in notes where they fit and you know, then where they don't. And I also love just the mix of moods in this track. It's at once really like aggressive, and yet also really kind of like windy, and like elements of, you know, like jazz and like hard rock. Oh, that riff right there, the way it just kind of spirals right out of the vocal line. Okay, and who all are we hearing here? The band, let's see, members had come from bands like Formula 3, Osage Tribe, and let's see, soundtrack composer Vince Tempera, and a few other bands that I'm not really familiar with offhand. And, yeah. Okay, now we've got just, let's see, on this album we are hearing the talents of Mario Lavezzi, who plays acoustic and 12-string guitar and electric and mandolin and voice. Bass work by Olov. And oh, and perhaps most significantly in terms of individual names on here, Alberto Radius, yeah, put out some really good solo albums during the 1970s. Yeah, this coming after his debut solo album. And before his run of great late 70s albums, yeah, Che Cosa Sei is one of my favorite Italian albums in 1976. It's up there. This section right here is kind of evocative of the style on that solo album. Okay, and we are hearing, let's let's see, grand piano, electric piano, clavinet. Okay, we have two keyboardists on here. Gabriele Lorenzi, who plays organ, harpsichord, and synthesizer. Okay, so that's the rising note we just heard is him. Yeah, and the other keyboardist, Vincenzo Tempera, who plays grand piano, electric piano, and clavinet. Let's catch up with the lyrics to this. I can tell that they're going places. Leave the smoke of the chimney. The emblem of the earth is flag. The emblem of the earth is the flag. Take your things, your people. He said it again, who is important. It's not true what choice you don't have. You can die even now if you want. Take a nice cart with horses. Load furniture and all the children. Aaron's son, more what you want. Die later if you go now. The puppet no longer plays. If he raises his arm, then he falls down. Huh, it seems like a community is just breaking up here and just going their separate ways. And I'm a man and I want to know why the truth has so many faces just for me. It is hard to plow the highways, and the hopes killed are not fertilizer for new businesses. I'm just offended by me too. There have been mistakes, we have to go on. Mistakes, pains, and pains of teeth pass. But who said, what choice you don't have? You can die even now if you want. Yeah, the entirety of the lyrics translated somewhat, maybe partially reliable, giving you somewhat of an idea about what this is about. Over, of course, the two very different sections of the track we've heard. No, I love the contrast between like the sustained sort of luminous keyboards synthesizer and the kind of jazzier element within the rhythmic component. Yeah, another one of those passages where it's basically 4/4, but there are a few instruments that are doing like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. Yeah, I'm not sure what lyrical passage is being sung, a part of the plot. Yeah, leave a comment if you know, because that's like the most strident line. That's got to be just the choice line of the track. Oh, I love that keyboard sound. Yeah, it's getting all kind of like misty, kind of glistening, sustain. Now this is really turning into like a head-spinning like hurricane of sound, like with the drizzling, misty cymbals. Oh, finally, a breakdown where we get to hear a few spotlights. I wish that had lasted a bit longer. We got like a trade-off between gets like two bar, like a bar for the keyboardist, a bar for the guitarist, a bar for the keyboardist. But then again, it wouldn't have been the band's style. I can see this band is very much about ensemblic interplay and just putting choice notes. It's like these are the kind of guys who at this point were so confident in their virtuosity that they didn't really need to like flaunt it too heavily. It would just kind of become self-evident through tight, cohesive interplay as a band. Yes, that was the track
La canzone del nostro tempo.
The Song of Our Time from Il Volo off their 1974 self-titled release on Numero Uno, their first of two albums. And I guess overall, I'd imagine that the song may have had somewhat to do with the turmoil that Italy was going through during the 1970s, which I guess came to a head like around 1976 or so. Yeah, there was like some political tension going on in the nation, I know. Perhaps most famously represented around the world anyway by that photo of that guy in the middle of the street holding a gun. Yeah, widely published photo. And anyway, let's hear another song from the album, I Primi Respiri. Now we have a much different mood this time, or perhaps you could say kind of more evocative of the midsection in the last track we just heard. This title,
I primi respiri.
translates to the first breaths. Oh, I'm wondering if this is about, like, kind of fatherhood, or spoken from a paternal standpoint or something. The music would indicate that, perhaps. Yes, I got lyrics to this one as well. Let's see where this goes. What do you do? Stay or go. Your armor, maybe it's safe, but don't breathe. Your prayer will not serve. Your prayer will not serve. The ear is hard, even if he knows that you don't breathe. Okay. This is once again about this is about. No, this is not a more domesticized situation we're dealing with here. This once again is dealing with sort of heady matters like turmoil. I take it to be perhaps about trying to stay alive in the battlefield, in within earshot of the enemy. Okay, it sounds like a different guy on vocals than on the last track. Yeah, three people are credited with vocals on this album: Mario Lavezzi, Gianni, drummer Gianni Dall'Aglio, who put out like a really good. Yeah, he put out an album in 1972, solo, with a really interesting cover. Yeah, interesting artwork. It looks like some artist whose work I've seen on quite a few Italian albums from the era. Yeah. Or Alberto Radius is the other guy who does vocals on this album. Oh, the way that those synth strings just kind of rose in that kind of frosty tone, like right out of the structure.
La tua preghiera non servirà.
Hear the frostiness of that kind of swirling keyboard tone and the bass lines running through it. Interesting kind of trebly tone breaking into the what is otherwise a pretty kind of misty overall sound. Notice how the bass lines are getting more, the underlying elements getting a bit more aggressive. Slowly. So much detail going on top with what sounds like, almost sounds like a mixture of like mandolin and harpsichord. I was thinking of either of those, but the bass is what's really captivating me. The way that the way those two like be it like the harpsichord, mandolin, and the cymbals, the way they were interacting, creating all that trebly kind of element. Now we have a really pronounced thick bass sound, kind of more like that lead type bass, like, well, kind of like in the Squire, J.J. Burnell type. Yeah, kind of a trebly tone. You can really hear the strings being plucked. Once again, it makes me wonder, is that a Rickenbacker bass? Oh, I hear the lyrical lead notes kind of like just wailing through. Did I see that in the credits? Let's see. Yeah, Sitar by Alberto Radius. Okay, we're going to go into some compelling kind of winding like half steps. Notice how the guitar is like just playing the same notes over and over again, the same theme without changing, but the underlying chord structure is changing underneath them. It's such a compelling device to use, like shifting key centers with the same like lead motif played above it, because depending on what key you're playing against, you could be throwing in major sevenths, you could be throwing in like sevenths, you could be throwing in like minors, or it just creates so much like tonal, like harmonic contrast going throughout the whole play out of the section. There's almost kind of like a choral effect on at least one of the keyboard layers. I was almost getting like this type, kind of almost hearing it in the. Oh, that icy, frosty ending notes just swirling right out of there. Yeah, that was I Primi Respiri by Il Volo, and before that, La Canzone del Nostro Tempo, from their 1974 self-titled album. Yeah, an Italian super band pulling together some of the nation's finest talent for one great album, and another one the following year. Yes. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the two Il Volo albums, see the directory of albums by Italian artists linked in the description below, as well as for albums by some of the other artists mentioned, the contributing players to this, like Alberto Radius, and like the bands like Osage Tribe and the like. Like and subscribe and follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard, the layers, the arrangements, the intensity, the build up, the dynamics, which moments stood out best to you, the lyrics, if you have interpretations that are a bit more accurate than mine based on a familiarity with this language. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled trimeximist, signing off.